The sound of cicadas filled the warm summer air, their hum blending seamlessly with the quiet rustle of leaves. A boy stood at the edge of a small town, suitcase in hand, his gaze fixed on the road ahead. His heart was heavy with apprehension, yet tinged with a quiet hope. This was a new chapter in his life, one he hadn't anticipated, a chance to escape the loneliness that had followed him like a shadow. Little did he know what awaited him at his destination would change his world forever. He arrived at an unassuming residence, a house that exuded warmth and charm, nestled between vibrant hydrangea bushes. As he hesitated at the gate, a cheerful voice broke through his thoughts. "You must be the new tenant." Startled, he looked up to see a woman approaching, a vision of elegance and kindness. Her welcoming smile eased his nerves, though it also left him feeling strangely flustered. She introduced herself as the caretaker of the house, her tone gentle yet filled with an energy that seemed to breathe life into the quiet surroundings. Inside, the house was a perfect blend of traditional and modern comforts. The boy's room was modest but cozy, with soft tatami mats and a view of the garden. As he unpacked, he couldn't shake the sense that he'd stumbled into a dream. The caretaker, ever attentive, brought him tea and asked about his journey. Her presence was calming, yet something about her lingered in his mind long after their conversation ended. As the days passed, he began to settle into his new routine, yet the house held secrets he couldn't ignore. The other residents, all women, each had distinct personalities that added vibrancy to his days. They were friendly and curious about him, their interactions often leaving him overwhelmed but oddly comforted. Their teasing and laughter filled the house, creating an atmosphere he hadn't realized he'd been longing for. But what truly captured his attention was the caretaker. Her every action, from the way she prepared meals to her thoughtful gestures, seemed almost too perfect. Who was she, really? And why did he feel an unspoken connection to her? One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the boy found himself sitting on the veranda with the caretaker. She asked him about his past, her voice soft yet probing. He hesitated, unsure of how much to reveal. Could he trust her with the truth about his struggles, his feelings of isolation? Her gaze was understanding, as if she could see through the walls he had built around himself. Was it possible that she too carried burdens she hadn't shared? The peaceful days at the house were not without their challenges. The boy often found himself caught in humorous yet perplexing situations thanks to the lively personalities of the other residents. Their antics pushed him out of his comfort zone, forcing him to confront emotions he'd long suppressed. Yet, amidst the chaos, he found himself growing, not just as a person, but also in his understanding of those around him. Each moment brought him closer to the caretaker, their bond deepening in ways he couldn't fully explain. One rainy afternoon, he stumbled upon a small room tucked away in a corner of the house. Inside, he found an old photo album. Flipping through its pages, he discovered pictures of the caretaker from years ago. Her smile, just as radiant as it was now, but there was something different in her eyes, a hint of sadness that hadn't faded with time. What had she experienced to carry such a weight in her gaze? He closed the album, his mind racing with questions. Should he ask her about it, or was it a boundary he shouldn't cross? The turning point came during the town's summer festival. The house was abuzz with excitement as the residents prepared, each contributing in their own way. The caretaker helped him choose a yukata, her fingers brushing against his as she adjusted the fabric. The moment was fleeting, yet it left him feeling as if time had stopped. At the festival, amidst the laughter and vibrant lights, he found himself drawn to her more than ever. They walked together through the crowded streets, sharing small moments that felt monumental in their simplicity. As the festival reached its climax with the dazzling display of fireworks, the boy finally mustered the courage to ask the question that had been on his mind. "Why do you do so much for everyone?" She looked at him, her expression unreadable. "Because," she began, her voice barely audible over the explosions of color in the sky, "this house is more than a place to live. It's a place where people can heal, where they can find what they've been missing." Her words lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. In the days that followed, the boy couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her story. He noticed the small moments when her smile faltered, the way she sometimes stared off into the distance as if lost in memories. What was she hiding, and why did he feel an inexplicable need to protect her, even as he struggled to understand his own feelings? Then her sister, the towel slid over her shoulders. The climax of his journey came unexpectedly. A sudden event forced the boy to confront not only his own fears, but also the truths the caretaker had been keeping hidden. In that moment, as he stood by her side, he realized that their lives were intertwined in ways neither of them had anticipated. The house, the residence, the caretaker, they had all become a part of him, just as he had become a part of them. As the season drew to a close, the boy found himself standing at the same gate where his journey had begun. But this time, he wasn't alone. The bonds he had formed, the emotions he had uncovered, and the mysteries he had unraveled had all led him to a new understanding of himself and the world around him. Yet, one question remained. Was this the end of his story, or merely the beginning of something greater?